So as I'm sure many of you will be aware, there's a battle raging on the conservative right in America over what the conservative right actually looks like. And there's been a few people, few troublemakers, quite frankly, a venomous coalition sowing division, one might say, that are totally rebranding conservatism, or attempting to, in the form of modern Nazism. I mean, I don't know how else to look at it. It's anti-truth. It's anti-Western, quite frankly, in many respects. It's anti-equality before the law and meritocracy. It's anti-Semitic. And I want to, and I'm talking obviously specifically about people like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and others. And there are people who are saying, like Ben Shapiro, like there's a few people now. Dana Lesh, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Who else? Mark Levin, obviously. You have Dumasani, Washington. Plenty of people on the right, probably even the majority at this point, who say, well, hold on one sec, we need to take a stand against this. It is, it's vile, it's evil, and we need to be able to say of our own side, hold on, that's not good. We can't just say, well, because you're my tribe or because you're part of my side against the left, therefore we won't have anything to say. We won't explain and give moral clarity on bad views on our side. And I want to show you a bit of this exact debate playing out between Matt Walsh, who's a commentator on the Daily Wire, who's basically saying he basically will not say any criticism, really, as far as I can see, towards someone like a Tucker Carlson, who launders those kind of views I discussed with guests on his show who say the most absurd, ridiculous, pro-Hitler, anti-Churchill kind of stuff. And he basically says, no, we need unity. And then there's other people, like Ben Shapiro, like Konstantin Kisin, who I'm going to show you, who are saying, one second, that's absurd. Politics is about values. We need to be able to express values. And by the way, just to be absolutely clear, before I show you this debate between Matt Walsh and Konstantin Kisin that emerged over X, by the way, Konstantin, for those of you who don't know, is the podcast host of Trigonometry. He's an excellent commentator, I must say. Before I do that, there is this argument you'll hear from Matt Walsh and others that say, look, if we go after the Groypers, if we go after the Fuentes or whatever, and by go after, I mean call out the immorality of their side, of their positions, not cancelling individuals or relationships with them, you can still talk to them. But they said if you say why they're wrong, or those views are wrong, then you will lose your ability to influence them. I say, first of all, what's the point in having a voice and a mouthpiece and even having people in your tent if what they're doing is so corrosive, is so corrupting to your political camp? Now, so there's a question of, is it corrosive? Is it poisonous? Yes or no? If no, why is that kind of modern Nazism not poisonous in your view? If it is corrosive and poisonous, but you think we shouldn't say anything, I say to you, if you don't say anything, it just grows and grows and grows. And more than that, this idea that if you call out bad ideas, you'll lose people. I think actually, just like a parent or a teacher could say, well, if I tell my child why he is wrong, and I see this very similarly between influencers and their listeners, just like a teacher and student or parent and child. If they think, well, if I tell them why they're wrong, I might lose them. That's not how a parent or a good teacher should think. You provide them moral clarity and they'll actually respect you more. A lot of what they say is, well, they feel emasculated and they're looking for people that give them a sense of masculinity. That's what draws them to people like Nick Fuentes, because it's edgy, it's angry. But that's bad masculinity. Real masculinity, which you should show them and can light the way in and they will respect, is when you stand up to them. Don't just, I think it's actually quite submissive to say, no, I'm going to be quiet and just, fall over and let you say as whatever you want and walk all over conservative territory. It's much more masculine and setting a role model example to say, I'm standing up to this and saying why this is wrong, if indeed he does believe it is wrong. You'll get more respect that way. And by the way, there may be some people who won't respect you or who won't agree with you, but that is life, that is values, that is morality. That's how it works. So I don't understand this, honestly. So let's explain what Matt Walsh said here. He said, just to recap over the last 2 months, Charlie Kirk was shot in the throat on stage. Thousands of leftists spend weeks celebrating openly. Leftist militants take to the streets, committing and calling for more violence. The Attorney General candidate for Virginia expresses his desire to murder conservatives and watch their children die. Democrat voters turn out en masse to vote for him. Do you understand who your enemies are yet? Now, no one's denying that these things are a serious problem. Maybe even a greater problem right now. But two wrongs don't make a right. Dimasani Washington said, Matt, if you want to form an alliance with little Nazis like Nick Fuentes, go for it. I don't understand why you say, well, I'm not going to call out them because we've got a bigger problem here. It's a growing problem. And why? It all ties into this point about unity. So Konstantin Kisin wrote, 1944, American troops are fighting a series of brutal battles across the Pacific against Imperial Japan. Question, do you understand who your enemies are yet? Japan, but also Hitler? How dare you split the war movement? Exactly. So Matt Walsh said, I'm absolutely begging everyone to figure out how to draw historical analogies that aren't about World War II. I swear other events have occurred in history. It's true. Look it up. Well, to be honest, I think there's a very clear comparison between the Fuentes ideology and Nazi ideology, unlike maybe the way Nazism has been so devalued as a term. Konstantin Kissen said, if you keep calling for union on the basis we should turn a blind eye to the laundering of people who think Hitler was a very cool guy as just part of the conversation, it'll be kind of hard to avoid the World War II metaphors. Sorry, exactly. I'm going to like that, actually. And then, was there any further comment to this? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. That may have been the end of the discussion here. Let's have a quick scroll. Yes, okay, it seems that was the end of that discussion, but he's absolutely right. And I want to show you a quick video that I made on Instagram, which lays this out a bit more clearly. I think it's so important we have moral clarity here. Big debate raging right now on the conservative right in America. It's all about whether it's cancel culture to call out people on your own side. It started after Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes, a man who's openly praised Hitler, mocked Jews, and peddled hate. Tucker gave him a soft, fawning, unchallenging interview, unlike Tucker's interview with, say, Ted Cruz. And when conservatives criticised that, suddenly the cry from other conservatives went, oh, here we go again, cancel culture. But hang on, why is it free speech when Tucker speaks, but not free speech when people criticise him? You can't have it both ways. This isn't cancel culture, it's moral clarity. Politics is supposed to be about values, about truth, right and wrong. If you can't call out bad values when they come from your own side, then what exactly are you defending? And honestly, what are we even saying? That no matter what someone says, no matter how evil an idea may be, if they're on your side, you must stay silent. Come on, that's not loyalty, that's moral blindness. And let's be clear, calling someone out isn't the same as cancelling them. It doesn't mean banishing them from public life. It just means saying, those ideas are wrong. That behaviour is beneath the standard we should expect. That's not censorship. That's accountability. That's what a healthy culture does. If your definition of cancel culture is criticising someone I like, then what you really want isn't free speech. It's immunity from criticism. Accountability isn't cancellation. Condemnation isn't censorship. It's the immune system of a moral society. Because if we only defend truth when it's convenient, we don't actually believe in it. So no, denouncing evil isn't cancel culture, it's integrity. So that's the video I made, and I think this should all be pretty straightforward. How have we got to a position where we've been convinced that one side can speak with full immunity and if the other side says anything to criticise, it's censorship. But they can attack Jews and certain opinions as much as they want, and they can say whatever. It's just, this is one of the things you'll learn, by the way, when you study anti-Semitism alongside all kinds of other bad ideas. They're often so illogical, so stupid. It's so important to realise that. Study, it's the banality of evil. A quick update before we continue. I've got some big news for you. We've finally decided to bring JTV in person. I'm planning a speaking tour across America where I'll be talking about everything from the big issues the Jewish people and Israel face today to Judaism's deepest ideas, and of course I'll be taking your questions. If you want me to come to your location, just click the Google form link below in the video description and I'll be in touch. Let's have a conversation. So we shouldn't be in any way intimidated by bad ideas, by evil. It's pathetic. It's just, that's how we should look at it. That's how we should look at bad ideas. That's how we should look at people that espouse these ideas. That's how we should look at anything that we see as troubling. Don't be intimidated by it. The most commonly used phrase by God in the Torah is, do not fear. Fear not. That is our biggest threat, actually. Fear itself. The biggest thing we have to fear is fear itself, as it was once said. That is absolutely right. So let's keep speaking out, keep spreading our light, keep explaining what is the truth, what is morality for those who wish to listen. A quick message. We all hear about the Palestinian displacement, or Nakba, of 1948. But you know, there was another, even greater displacement that we haven't been told about. Nearly 1 million Jews were expelled from Arab lands at the exact same time. Watch the trailer for our new and absolutely essential documentary called The Real Nakba. And if you want to watch the full film, just click the link below in the video description. We've all been told about the Nakba, the Palestinian catastrophe of 1948. Around 700,000 Arabs were displaced. But here's what you're rarely told. That displacement didn't come from some Jewish plan for genocide. It wasn't Israel's goal. It wasn't Israel's desire. It happened because Arab leaders launched a war of annihilation. They tried to wipe out the newborn Jewish state, vowing to drive the Jews into the sea. And in the chaos of that war, people fled. Many because their leaders told them to, promising they'd return after victory. But the term Nakba was originally used to describe the fact that the Arabs lost the war, not the displacement. Now the term describes the displacement of war used as a political weapon against Israel. But you know, there was another Nakba you haven't been told about. A catastrophe rooted not in the fog of war, but in the clear, deliberate desire for persecution and genocide. It happened at the very same time, and it led to even more displacement, yet most of the world has never heard of it. Over 850,000 Jews, more than the number of displaced Arabs, were driven from their homes across the Arab world. Communities that had thrived for millennia were uprooted overnight. Families stripped of citizenship, of property, of dignity, assaulted, expelled, forced to flee with nothing but their faith. Why? Because they were Jews. Because Israel dared to exist. Because the Arab League openly orchestrated it, drafting plans in 1947 to freeze Jewish bank accounts, seize property, and intern Jews as enemy nationals. This is the real Nakba, a catastrophe born of pure anti-Semitism. In this JTV documentary, we'll journey country by country, from Baghdad to Cairo, from Sana'a to Tripoli, uncovering buried truths and survivor voices. And no, this isn't a tale of victimhood, it's a saga of endurance, courage, and triumph. Because the Jewish people didn't just survive this Nakba, we rebuilt, we came home. In Israel, our phoenix soared from the ashes. So buckle up and let's dive in. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.